Hey guys, what's going on and welcome back to the York City Save. This is an admin preview intro thing. If you haven't watched Saturday's episode where I run through all the transfers and background stuff that happened in the off-season, then go check that out. The link will be in the description as always. The previous episode is always linked down below. I would suggest watching that. I'm not going to run through all the transfers again in this one. If you want to get all caught up on that one, feel free to. Also, while I'm here, I just want to say thank you for the support. Obviously, first season, kind of walked it in the end in terms of the league. But the cup run provided a little bit of chaos, shall we say, towards the end of that season, which more than made up for that. So thank you for joining me on that one. Thank you for the support. The fact that anyone watches this is remarkable in my opinion. So thank you for joining me, and long may it continue. Hopefully, I'll see you again after the intro. There we are then, and the only thing I am going to sort of repeat from yesterday's last time out, I keep saying yesterday, it's not yesterday's, it's Saturday, there's a day in between, I know how days work. The only thing I will repeat, of course, is this general preview page where, in case you missed it, we are second favourites to get promoted. So no pressure on that front. Otherwise, just going to reiterate, decent pre-season, kind of demolished some teams in actual league football, held Norwich, Premier League, still Norwich, had a fun game with Celtic. Other than that, did lose to Fleetwood, and that was about it. The only down point of the preseason. So preseason's gone well, and the problem now lies in this first game against Morecambe, who are, as you saw there, the only team to be predicted more likely to get promoted than us, and we have to play them away on the first day of the season. So really going to test our new formation now, isn't it? Yeah, with the personnel that we brought in, this is now our more favoured formation in terms of the players that we've got. Connor Stanley actually has taken a knock, I now notice, at some point, which I didn't initially see. You know what? Maximum 45 minutes. He's not likely to come on in the first half anyway, so we should be all right on that front. He is one of our better players, so I'm going to keep him on that bench for now. We are away from home, so I'm not going to go attacking, but it's sort of a similar structure in terms of instructions, slightly less of them. Actually, I'm going to bob off narrow. Don't know why I'm on narrow. We've got wingers. We don't want to be playing narrow. The team is as follows. And I'm going to bob him off a sweeper keeper attack as well. That being said, bob him on sweeper keeper defend. We're in the Vanarama. I don't need to go too dramatic on that one. Sweeper keeper defend for Smith. Then on the left-hand side, you have Boys. In the centre of defence, two returning figures in the form of Boom and Romano. On the right-hand side, a new face in Clark. Middle of the park is mostly new as well. Williams in the deep line playmaker role on loan from Swansea. Yourself still here. Thor, I'm reliably informed by the internet that that is TH. So Thorvaldson, Thor for short, Kempster and Bennett on the far right-hand side there, and Juanito Lopez up front in that pressing attacking role, which he is getting increasingly better at as days go by. Bench looks familiar in terms of players on there. Dye is still here, McLaughlin, McFarlane and Ferguson on that bench, along with obviously the new face of Connor Stanley as well there. So, and obviously out of the team are a few other faces who do return. But in terms of the first team, we have improved on most of the positions. And it's now in one of my more favoured formations as well, in the sort of the 4. What it refers to as a 4-1-4-1, but I tend to just refer it as a 4-3-2-1. Oh, one thing obviously, completely new. I have upgraded the skin to one that looks a little bit more familiar to people who follow my Bradford save, as they have now released this skin again for me. So I think it's a little bit more YouTube friendly in terms of the font. It makes things a little bit clearer in general. So in case you're wondering why it looks different, that's why. I need to give a number to Daniel Williams because he's literally just arrived today. That's why I left actually the number 6 available, because I knew he was coming in. Let's give him that number 6 and warm those teams up. So I'm going to bring you the first 2 matches. In fact, I'm spoiling you, as they're going for a bold formation for this level of football. Passionately say, let's show me what you can do, because actually generally I haven't seen most of these guys. I probably watched the friendlies, but I was probably there in person. Maybe I like to think I was there in person, but I don't think I was, because I think even if you just watch a match, then you see them. And I think I'm still on director from the penalties of the last season. I am. Let's get Bob back that unclassic, shall we? As we set things off once more. So the team, obviously the Vanarama now, some good teams down here. Chesterfield currently doing quite well already. Chesterfield, some teams of National League previously. There's a lot of pinging around there. I think we managed to just ping it out of the goalie at the very, very end. We've had 6 shots already. Not on target, but we've had 6 shots. Oh my god, the possession stats after half of this first half. Sweet lord. Don't forget, this is the one team predicted to do better than us that we're up against here, away from home. I mean, not a lot happening in terms of goal mouth action, seemingly, as... What a game so far, folks. Well, I thought the Vanarama was going to be slightly more of a challenge. I mean, I'm saying that now. I don't want to get too cocky, but, I mean, away from home, I'll take a draw away from home for the one team that we're predicted to do worse than. But in terms of the stats, we need to work hard, we'll win this. I think we will. I think we will win this if they continue to work hard. I mean, I would like a highlight at some point, but... Oh, God. Really? What is this? Upper body injury? What on earth is an upper body injury, potentially? Was he been stabbed in the chest? Well, I actually don't technically have a replacement for him. The best I can do is move Thorvaldsen further back. I'll just stick him on a more generic defensive midfielder role. The problem is, with this skin, it no longer allows me to see this kind of stuff, so I have to wing it. McLaughlin is the only middle of the park player I have available to me. He can do box-to-box better than he can do Mazzala, so I will swap those over. I mean, a pure red injury does worry me, as Tut has a swing at goal. Smith tips it over. First shot on target for them all match. Like I say, a point away from home for the one team that's better than us, apparently. It is good on paper. Just, you know, before the match, I'd have taken a draw. Absolutely. With the way this match is set up right now, no idea why that was a highlight. I suspect it was just the resulting corner. That's why we saw it. But I mean, the middle of the park not doing amazingly well. But I'm going to give Stanley some of his game time. Can't replace either of these guys now just because I don't have any extra spare players. And with Clark being booked and there's 20 minutes to go, I am going to swap Dyer over with him. I think that seems a sensible swap right now. It's going to demand more again just to see if we can get more out of them in these last 10 minutes. Or, you know, a highlight would be nice. What a game, folks. Scintillating football played here. I'm happy while I saw there's some positives. Yeah, fine. 0-0. What a way to start the season. We do have to play Woking in 2 days' time. So I'll bring you back for that one, of course. Let's have a look. 2 months. Torn back muscle. Great. So now we're not playing a team predicted to be better than us. You can sort of see how we stack up against the rest of the league. Of course, we are at home, which does give us an advantage here. Yeah, those are the odds. Now, of course, the issue with Daniel Williams being injured does kind of ruin our formation somewhat. I've renamed him. Kieran Green is regarded as being okay in that role, so we're going to have to pop him in there. Keep the bench as it is from last time round. Thor is a bit tired. Everyone else okay. Everyone else is fine. So just go into this second game as we went into the first, really, just with one replacement. It just made me wonder, does make me think maybe got back on the 4-4-2 formation. But for now, we go again. Play a game, we'll win. I mean, we should do. As the second game of the season kicks off, and hopefully it'll be slightly more entertaining than the first one was, because I apologise for that. Obviously, I have no control over what happens in the games, but even I was expecting a little more than we saw out of that first one, as Boys picks up this ball 5 minutes into this particular match and swings it into the box. Kieran Green's waiting on the edge, and it's Kieran Green, of all people, who scores our first goal of the season. None of the new boys. Player who was largely maligned last season in terms of performances, having to obviously do that ball-winning midfielder role in the 4-4-2 formation all season, which no one ever performed well in. Didn't have the most scintillating of seasons last year. Neither did anyone else who played that role. So stick him in a Mazzala role, though, and he scored. And maybe that was the reason for his poor performances. So hopefully Thor does a little bit better in that now actual proper DM ball-winning midfielder role. I do kind of prefer that back role being a ball-winning midfielder rather than the deep line playmaker that Daniel Williams is better at. So, but the problem is, trying to find a player who can play in that role is incredibly difficult at this level of football. So far, it seems. Advantage, of course, though, is Vanarama. Transfer window is available all the time. As maybe the Vanarama just doesn't have highlights. There's still room for form. I can do words. There's room for improvement, is what I'm trying to say here. I mean, statistically, not really, but there is room for improvement as they kick off, as Woking have the start of this highlight, but Bennett has intercepted that ball and will now pass it off to Clark, who will give it back to Bennett, basically, and that was all kind of worthless in the end, as they just Pass it between the pair of them for the time being. Managed to swoop Lopez. Again, if you haven't watched the previous episode, I did mention something about Lopez in that episode, and that's the fact he's 1 to 5 favourite. Not 5 to 1, 1 to 5 favourite to be top goal scorer in this division. And he's got his first goal of the season now. Yeah, he is expected to destroy this league, apparently. And, well, now he's got 1 goal at the very least. So we've had 2 highlights and 2 goals. Nothing else. And nothing else happening in this particular match either. Are we only seeing goal highlights now? Is that the thing? As we now rock you towards 70 minutes. Bennett's on 6.3, get him off. I don't think I've actually got anyone else for Kempster on the pitch right now. I mean, McLaughlin could use to do it, but that was when he was a normal left winger. I am trying to bring in another left winger, so that might come a little bit better at some point. And Sells on 6.5. Boys wasn't doing too amazingly, so I might just swap him out for Ferguson for the time being. As I appear to have actually interrupted in a highlight with that, as Boys now himself swings it forward to Kempster, who gets it into the box. I don't know if this is because I'm making changes or if there was a highlight that I actually interrupted with my changes. As Morecambe all asserting their dominance in that particular match. Lopez has gathered this particular ball. Bennett swings it back in. Going for a corner. I think this might just been gameplay going on because I made a change. It was. You have to look at fitness levels as well, I suppose. Do I have Newton on the bench? I don't have Newton on the bench, which might be foolish considering he can play basically everywhere. Just put McLaughlin in there. Nacell's on a 6.5. It's not great from him, but I just looked at the stats again. I do apologise. I did think Vanarama was a little bit more of a step up apparently in quality. Admittedly, we didn't lose to a single Vanarama team when we were in the National North in any cup match, so I suppose we shouldn't be too surprised. It's even given the option of saying we were poor out there. That's how good our performance was, technically. Good win, boys. I'm just going to say good win. I'm not going to be critical of it. I mean, 22 shots maybe should have been better. As Morecambe actually went 4-1 up whilst having 10 men. Well, they went 3-0 up whilst having 10 men. And then they got one back and then they had that evened out for them. Okay, Morecambe might be actually kind of dangerous in this particular division. So the fact we did get a draw with them could be super important. If they perform like this against every other team, then the fact we drew against them might be an interest. Whilst we did dominate this particular match, and it did end up 2-0, well, we did dominate the match. There could be an interesting tussle between us and Morecambe if they perform like this all season. We'll have to see, won't we? As Hull are tracking Juanito Lopez. Oh no, don't take him from me. But of course, like I say, Vanarama doesn't have a transfer window as such, so we can always get, like, if any of our players get poached, a lot of them have higher division release fees. If any of those players get poached, then we can always get a new one in fairly easily. So it's just this injury here is a massive problem. 7 to 10 weeks is not great. But unbeaten start. 2 goals scored, none conceded. Ted Smith doing the job between the sticks. And our first cup match is down here. Now, I'm pretty certain... Oh, this is FA Cup qualifying round, actually. Yeah, so the first match is the FA Cup qualifying round in terms of cups. We don't have to go through 2 other previous rounds or whatever it was, like we did last year. And of course, we joined the FA Trophy in the first round without any qualifying rounds for that either. So you get to bypass a few more cup matches at the very least this season. We do have a couple of matches on television as well. Harrogate and Hartlepool, 2 places not too far away from York. So I'm thinking they're regarding those as local-ish derbies, I suppose. That's maybe the one they're televised. And actually, with that in mind, Harrogate is super close to York, actually. They are probably one of the most local sides to York you can possibly find. I think I'll actually bring you that match then. And there is a tasty, obviously, match against Ebbsfleet that follows it off. Ebbsfleet, of course, the team that we beat for the FA Trophy final. Yeah, I think that's a nice little tasty double-header for us there. Local team in Harrogate, potential revenge match for Ebbsfleet. There's a lovely little narrative with those 2 matches there. So I think actually we'll bring those 2 matches, even though they're only one match, sort of in between. I tend to like a little bit more of a gap. But I think the narrative is far too nice of these 2 matches to avoid doing those. So Harrogate and Ebbsfleet next time round. Until then, ta-ra.